If you ask me, I think the government were a bit shaky recently, we'll say, and probably felt it was a good opportunity to pick a fight, particularly with the RMT, paint us as the enemy within. And I think they've bitten off more than they can chew, because it's clearly demonstrated that the public is on our side, not the side of the government. They support our efforts to achieve protection for our people in the cost of living crisis. They don't support the massive cuts that are being proposed, and they don't support the government bringing in more authoritarian legislation to take away the right of working people to dissent against poverty. So I think they have picked a fight with us. If you listen to some of the rhetoric coming out of the government, it's pretty clear that that's what they were after. I mean, some of the stuff they were saying was so crazy. If a manager says hello to a railway worker, that means you've got to start your breakover from scratch. I mean, the industry couldn't run. They're saying there's too many people in the industry, but the whole industry runs on overtime. How does it make sense if you've got an industry that runs on overtime to slash thousands of jobs out of it? That's not going to improve the situation, is it? So I think they have picked a fight with us. People ought to be aware that right now Network Rail spends more servicing its debts from the privatised era than it does on actually delivering maintenance to the railway infrastructure of this country. That's extremely worrying, and their whole plans are based on government set cuts to the operational expenditure of the railway, and in order to achieve that they need to rip out 1/3 of the frontline workforce in maintenance and half scheduled maintenance work in the industry. That is not a recipe for success and a railway that needs to expand and be part of the green future of this country.
Are you talking to unions beyond rail unions?
We're talking to absolutely everybody. So the people in this country, as I've said, have been feeling the pinch now, and their wages and their spending power has been falling for many years. And I think the general public in this country know that they're being mugged, and they've had enough of that. Our public services are being eaten alive by private companies. Profits are through the roof. Corporate pay at the top is absolutely obscene, and the only people in the economy that are being asked to tighten their belts are working class people. We need an adjustment in this economy and in this society. We need to have a country that's run for the people in it, not run for the financial institutions and the big corporations.
Workers' pay rises cannot keep up with inflation if you're not to have a wage price spiral. Well, you know that. It's got to be below inflation.
That's absolute rubbish. What's caused inflation is the shock of the supply chains from the global health emergency and rampant profits. 73% profits are up since 2019. Pay at the top is going through the roof.
That. What I'm
no
saying
one's worried about pay at the top, Anne.
You cannot match inflation with pay. I've just explained, because then you get into the wage price spiral. Then you get into the wage price spiral.
But people at the top are all right. Their profits can carry on going through the roof. For 30 years in this country, wages have not kept up with inflation. At the same time, profits have rarely not exceeded inflation.
You tell me.
There has been a transfer of wealth from working class people to people at the top, and that can't carry on. That has got to change. I have to tell you, it's a bit of a cheek having a programme asking trade unions being greedy for asking for a pay rise. The FTSE 350 top companies in this country, their profits have gone up 73% since 2019. When are we going to ask, are they being greedy? What about the railway companies that have been ripping this country off for years?
The point is,
no one asks about their profits or whether they're greedy.
You're going on strike, and it's going to impact
We're going on
everyday people going to work. It's at the start of the Commonwealth Games. That's going to.
No, it's not at the start of the Commonwealth Games.
At its height.
It's not at the start of the Commonwealth Games. We didn't strike on the Commonwealth Games. It's the day before.
The day before it starts.
The day before is not the Commonwealth Games.
As it's starting, you've got people travelling.
It starts the day after. They'll be travelling on the day too.
To Birmingham for the Games, it's going to impact.
People will find it hard on a strike day. But people will find it hard when it's not a strike day, because there's people in this country spending 18% of their income travelling on trains. We've got the highest fares in Europe because profiteers have been robbing this country blind for years. At the same time, later on in this year, energy prices are going to be so high, some of my people will be spending 2 full months of take-home pay on energy. And you're telling us that we're greedy for expecting workers to keep up with that. What we need in this country is a cost of living crisis addressed through the wage packet, and we need price caps on energy, and we need the profits taken down a peg or two. Because the people at the top of the economy, they're having a disco, and everyone else is being told that they've got to carry the can and tighten their belts. It's not on.
Ultimately, you're going to have to put the prices up even further in order to pay for the pay rises that you want.
It's not what's happening.
Otherwise, where does the money come from then?
Look, let's have a look at this. Grant Shapps and Andrew Haynes, who runs Network Rail, modernised the CAA. Look at the state of it. Now they're going to modernise the railway. There is plenty of money in my industry, and it is going out of it in the form of profits, and it's leaving this country and going to tax havens.